Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the West Coast Wednesdays Reptile Podcast. Whether you're joining us live or catching the replay, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Share out this content. Tonight's episode is a banger, number one of West Coast Wednesdays here on YouTube Live every other Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Coast Time. I'm your host, Adrian. I started this podcast to share discussions I have with other reptile keepers and breeders so we can share information and get it out there for everyone to enjoy and consume more content about some interesting species, some high-level content, high-level discussions. We will have the privilege tonight of being joined by tonight's guest, Alex Warren of Amazing Arboreals. He is a professional reptile keeper and breeder. He's got a very nice collection. Really looking forward to having a discussion with Alex tonight on the show. I would say he's been one of my mentors through acquiring a arboreal collection. And without any further ado, let's hop into West Coast Wednesdays. I'm going to bring our guest on right now.
What's
Hello,
going
Mr.
on?
Alex Warren.
Dude,
Welcome to the West Coast.
Dude, thank you so much. Number one, I'm super honored, bro. I appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. Really appreciate you and your time for coming on here and having a discussion about these animals that we love so much.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
How's your day been so far? How's the weather out there in Texas?
The weather is great as of right now. It's been about 70 or 80 degrees in the day and 60s and 50s at night. So it's been perfect so
Awesome.
far, but the heat is coming. I can already feel it.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Okay. So wanted to have a discussion mainly about green tree pythons tonight and some high level stuff. I've got a few topics we can discuss here, and let's just get straight into it, man. What everybody wants to know. How would you define a designer chondro? I know we talked about this little through Instagram Messenger and stuff, and I really liked your answer that you told me. And don't be afraid to give a high level answer and in depth.
Sure, I'll give it my best shot for sure. So my answer actually comes from a good friend Michael Majoros from Coloring Outside the Lines, because me, him, and Chuck Amicone from Chill Chondros were actually having a conversation about this, and he said his definition, which I fully agree with, is of a designer chondro is a chondro that has been line bred for a specific phenotype over several generations. Now, whether that means that it has different localities in it or it has the same localities, I'm not really too sure about that part. But to me, a designer chondro is just I guess, genetically modified chondro for a certain phenotype. So melanism, blue, yellow, high white, which is the hardest one to get. That's probably the closest definition that I could come up with, or that I've heard so far. There's a lot of arguments out there about what actually is a designer chondro. I know that if you were to ask 10 different people, you're going to get 10 different answers. Some people like to put designer chondro on their snake that they're selling in order to sell them better, but it's really a hard topic,
Definitely.
to define if you really think about it, because
Definitely.
what if you have a designer chondro that comes from melanism, like Jaeger, but Jaeger has produced green snakes, right? So
Absolutely.
is that a designer chondro? I mean, yes, it should be, right? But it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have any of the phenotype that you were going for. So it's kind of a really touchy subject for a lot of people, in my opinion. But
Definitely.
I guess that would be my definition.
Yeah. So you kind of explaining Jaeger's offspring and stuff, like as an example. I think that there maybe are there's many different examples of designers, but maybe a phenotypical designer and a genotypical designer, you could say. Would you agree? Like
Yeah.
a phenotype is a displaying the it's similar to a recessive in a ball python.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, yeah,
Well, what do you like when you say genotypically? What do you mean by that?
it carries the blood, like it carries the genotype of the designer,
Yeah,
but it
right,
just doesn't express physically
right.
the
Yeah,
phenotype.
and exactly, and also, there's also the argument that, even if you breed two green snakes together that come from a certain phenotype, you can produce that phenotype in those offspring, right? And that's not even a theory, that's a
So
proven
that
fact.
would be two genotype animals would make a phenotype animal, is what you're describing.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah,
to
yeah.
relate.
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, and this discussion, this kind of question came up when I was at the Reptile Super Show Pomona, I believe in January, and I was excuse me, I was speaking with Garrick from the House of Blue, and he was explaining to me, he was letting me know, he was defining his definition of a designer, and I thought it was very interesting, and I agreed with him. Is similar to the points that we have, and maybe I'll have him come on the show and express his side. I don't want to speak for him, but he was pretty much saying that a designer is a line bred animal, um, and
Yeah.
that so another contrast would be when there's the term designer gets thrown around a little loose. I feel like in this chondro world, and but even though there could be a genotype designer like we're describing, so I agree with the genotype designers. It's a green snake, but it carries the traits. It's there. However, there's also the locality cross discussion where I see sometimes with other species, let's say for chameleons, if you breed a nosy folly to a nosy metio, then that's a designer chameleon. I feel like the chameleon world has adopted the designer terminology from the chondro community. They used to be referred to as hybrids more often, I would see, and now they're being the word designer is being thrown out in the chameleon community, and that's how I kind of relate. Like if you breed an Aru to a Biak, is that a designer? Or if you breed, that Aru Biak cross to a Manakwari, now is that a designer? And
Right.
to me, like you mentioned before, and that's kind of where this conversation stems from, is there is no line bred trait. You're just kind of throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, which is how designers are made, if you can establish the line. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, absolutely. I think the argument could be made that, two localities crossed together are a designer. And,
definitely. Yeah.
whenever I was first coming into this, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, that's what I considered a designer. Obviously that opinion has changed, and it's kind of funny because as you go through your chondro keeping experience, your opinions of things always change. And
Yeah.
like I know stuff from 2 years ago that I think the complete opposite in now. But yes, the argument could be made that two localities crossed together are designers, because what if both of those localities are high yellow and you're going for high yellows? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. That
So,
reminds me of another. Excuse me. I'll let you finish.
well, it's hard. I personally wouldn't call that a designer. I would call that an Arubiak or whatever it was, right? I like to call things what they are until I'm pretty sure that it is a designer, right? Like if I were to breed Gasanova to a female that is not a locality, like she has a bunch of localities in her, those babies are designers, right? Like
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think anyone would argue that those aren't designers.
We have a question here from Will.
So Will, what I would consider that is so he's probably referring to my Guinness Sarong clutch that I recently had. I would call that what it is because Guinness is a designer. He's a Jaeger baby. He's a Jaeger biscuit baby. I would call that a sarong designer baby. And I know that sounds a little weird. You could call it a designer outcross. You could call it a sarong outcross. I wouldn't call it a straight up designer. I would just call it a sarong times designer, just so that everyone is on the same page. You're not muddying up the water. You're not trying to trick people.
Yeah.
You're telling it what it is.
Yeah, that's what Garrick was explaining to me. I was showing him some of the animals that I had, and he's like, that's basically a sarong. That's basically like a almost a pure sarong. And I agreed with him, and that's where like sometimes I feel like I was kind of misled. I feel like in a way, and that's what I'm trying to explain to new people getting into the game is they see this word designer everywhere, and they're like, "Oh, I'm just gonna buy this animal because it says designer." Well, it's
Yeah.
actually just a high percentage sarong with a couple localities crossed in. It's not really a designer. It's just a basically a mutt, like Ryan Young would
they're
say.
they're
And
all mutts.
I'm trying to pull up this lineage chart. Excuse me, Alex.
No,
But
you're
speaking of
good.
Ryan Young, I touched on this on a recent podcast recently. Ryan Young had another theory about designers. If you breed a high white Aru to another high white Aru, you're line breeding that locality to make a designer in a sense. Uh,
Right.
a high white Aru, that's not a naturally occurring locality per se. If you're
Right.
line breeding it, you're creating a designer animal. And I agree with that. I agree with that strongly. Not to take away, it's still a locality and heart. It's they're just animals at the end of the day. But I'm just trying to find
Yeah,
an
no,
understanding of
you're just looking at it through, trying to get a different perspective on it.
yes, yeah,
That's a really interesting you know, point that you have because Gary, I think he has like pure Manicories, right? And they're blue, and he breeds like the
yes.
bluest Manicories to each other, right? Well, is that a designer? Um, I like designer sarong. Yeah,
Definitely, I like sarongs. Yeah,
yeah,
I like
yeah, for
designer sarong.
sure.
So,
Uh,
so if Gary would breed the Manicories together, yeah, to line breed the Manicories, yeah, for sure, for sure. You could still call them pure localities. They're just I
well,
feel like
they
they're
are. I mean,
designer. They're
yeah,
designer.
they are pure localities, right? I mean, if it's a pure Manicory, but then again, like here, my other thing is that yeah, I think I've told you this. How do you know that that's actually a Manicory? Were you the one there that went and picked it off the tree, or are
Exactly.
you just regurgitating what was written on the bag whenever it came in? Um,
Exactly.
like it's who knows where these things really come from, and I know that Chuck is big on this, where he prefers to call them the four subcategories or whatever it is, like the Uterensis and stuff like that. Northerns and Southerns and whatever. He prefers to call them that because it's more specific, right? Because like Biak and Numford come from a certain area of the
Hmm.
Philippines or
Yeah, they're the
Indonesia.
same subspecies. They're both are Azuria. I'm sorry if
Azuria,
no
yeah,
Poultry. Oh yeah, they're Azuria, Morelia Azuria.
yeah. I'm unfortunately I'm not super knowledgeable on that. Maybe Chuck can drop a comment on that. But but I think that's a little bit more specific rather than saying like, this is a sarong, this is a jaya, because I know people are going to argue with this, but to me, jayas and sarongs look a lot alike, and I really can't tell much of a difference between them.
Definitely, but they're from very far apart regions. They're completely different subspecies. Correct? A sarong
I
and a
think
jaya is it?
sarong and I don't
Yeah.
know for sure, but I think sarong and jaya come from the same general area because like sarong is an island and
Yeah.
Jayapura is an island and Aru is an island, right?
No, Jayapura is a eastern type like a cyclops. It's next to the Cyclops Mountains. It's an eastern Papua New Guinea. It's not an
Okay.
island.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I'm not
Yeah.
super familiar, but I know there is islands, right? Like
Yeah, the
Biak.
sarong. You're correct. The sarong is on the island or peninsula with the
Okay.
Maniquari, I believe.
Right.
if I'm not mistaken. I
Yeah.
could be I
So
could be
again,
wrong.
I'm
Sorry.
not
Yeah.
super knowledge. I'm not like a massive locality guy in my opinion. I just, if the snake looks cool, then that's what I like. Um
I'm gonna
it
go ahead.
I
I'm
could
gonna
care
share
less.
my screen here for a second. Hey, thank you for dropping in, MJ,
Yeah,
man.
what's up, MJ?
Appreciate you, and shout out to the trap, bro. All respect to you. Wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you, MJ, man. Thank you for everything you've done for this community, bro. We wouldn't be here talking if it wasn't for you, man.
Yeah, huge shout out to
Thank you
MJ.
so much. I'm gonna share this lineage chart right here. Hope you enjoy, MJ. By the way, everyone else, share this lineage chart of a couple designer animals that I have here. Excuse my blank screen. Is it displaying now? If
I don't see
no,
any.
oh, I have to share screen. Excuse me. I have to share my screen. Okay, share screen. Okay, yep, share. All right. Okay, now we can see the animals here. I believe. Yep. So this is the familiar chart. This is one of the charts that I made this chart myself, by the way. This
Mhm.
is a chart that we're all pretty much familiar with. This gems. That was Jason Stevens from Colorado.
I think so, yeah.
Forgive me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm pretty sure it
So
is.
I was just trying to pull up this chart to see. So just to give some examples. So here, this is the male that I picked up from Patrick Holmes here, and these are horrible pictures, by the way. So apologize.
You're good.
This was the Gems male 0821, bred to the Sarong. So this already has some Sarong. See, the sire to Gems was a Sarong as well.
Mhm.
So and then now Gems got bred out to another Sarong. Now this animal is pretty much a high percentage Sarong animal here. So
Right.
it's not it's a designer outcross. It's a locality outcross. I don't would this be a locality outcross? This would be a locality outcross if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I would call it a locality outcross, and the main
Yeah.
locality being Sarong.
Yeah. And what I would think is pretty much to breed to get that designer line back, you would have to have a designer animal, like a blue line, a nice blue line animal, like Eric animal to put this to, a nice RFAC animal from Kenny Richichi, something like that. That's what I would put this animal to get a nice designer. And so what happened here is I acquired this female first from Kino and Mike Marshall joint pairing right here. This is the Mike Marshall male, and this is the Kino female from Bill Stiegel.
Mhm.
And I acquired this female originally, and then I was scrolling through Morph Market, and then I saw this male, and it was from Phoenix Reptiles, and it said RFAC in the pairings. So I just jumped the gun, pulled the trigger on it, and I didn't realize till after I actually got the animals, I think, that and I started asking for lineage that I understood that they were somewhat related. The sire to this male is the grandfather to the sire's the female sire. It's quite
So
difficult.
they
They're they
they have the same grandfather.
yeah, well the father, yeah, she has the same grandfather as the father of the male. So
Oh,
they're not direct
I see.
siblings, but
Yeah, I see it.
it would be interesting to get a clutch from this pairing in my opinion. They're
Yeah.
not too closely related. There's some more Cyclops blood on this side on the Kino female,
Mhm.
and it's
Yeah.
quite interesting. Even though the male does phenotypically look like a Cyclops, in my opinion. So this is just some example. So if we go over the female here, so we know that this is a locality outcross. The female. So this was a sarong to the designer. This is a locality outcross. This male from Mike Marshall. This is a
Uh,
locality outcross right here.
okay.
And then here we have the designer male. Where you could say, I mean, these are two localities bred together made this animal, but it looks like to be as a designer animal, and then bred to this locality cyclops. So this is a somewhat of a locality outcross as well. So it's locality outcross to locality outcross to make a locality outcross again.
Yeah,
I
that's what
mean,
it
and
sounds like.
this is what I'm trying to because I bought these animals as a designer. These animals were both listed as designers.
Uh-huh.
So, but come to find out, if we want to get technical, they're locality outcrosses. Well,
Well,
they could be designers to someone, especially the seller. They market them as a designer. This is where I'm trying to get at. It could be a little misleading, but I mean, it's better than just a pure locality. At the end of the day, at least you got some other blood in there, and
yeah, I mean, I think that as long as you're going for a certain like phenotype, I don't know if it really matters too much, like the name on it. I mean, you can see the lineage chart, right?
yeah,
So, like there a chance of you producing blue snakes from those two? Yeah, for sure there is. I don't know how big of a chance or how small of a chance, but there's definitely a chance of you producing blue animals from that, no matter really what label you put on it. So
yeah, yeah. So
that's
that's kind of where I was getting at. So
yeah, 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 for
check
sure.
the comments here, and um, yeah. So cyclops are just found highland areas of around Jayapura. You're correct, Will. Yep, peninsula. All right, thanks for that information, Chuck. Yep, yep, the four subspecies for sure. Uterensis is the eastern type, like Cyclops jayapura. The flu manicore you have, Alex, was it the flu and a pure manicore that made the male?
Yes.
Not familiar.
Yes, it was. It was the flu times Manicory.
All right. I'll try to go ahead. Let me try to pull that up while I ask the next question. Okay, Alex.
Sure. Yep.
So I see that you have really good husbandry of your rodents, specifically the desert field mice. I really like what you're doing over there. It's very inspirational. I always think of you when I feed my rodents.
Hmm.
How's that going for you, Alex?
It's going great. I feel much better about feeding my chondros now, knowing where those rodents are coming from and what they're eating.
Definitely.
It's
Yeah.
definitely been a weight off my shoulders. Not that it was kind of a weight that I put there myself. I had just heard so many stories of all of these big rodent companies that were, getting their mice from China and stuff like that, and it just got into my head. So I just decided, I need to start breeding my own rodents, and Bill is nice enough to let me use his upstairs loft at his facility where I can breed them, and that's basically what I use to feed my collection right now, is homegrown ASFs. So that's been going really
100%.
well, and I
100%. Same here. Same
yeah.
here.
You breed your own ASFs or mice or rats or
I have
all the above?
desert field mice.
What is the desert? Okay,
Desert.
is that the California term?
I cannot disclose any information on that. Um,
Yeah,
excuse
I
me.
got you. I got you.
So, how many colonies are you running? What are your ratios?
As of right now, I try to stay between like 4 and 6 colonies. It kind of does change every now and then, and my ratios are 1 to 4.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, I might start upping that a little bit. I just got another rack, a 6 tier rack. So I might do 1 to 5. Yeah, I might do 1 to 5 because I heard of other people doing that, and I guess
Oh
it makes
yeah.
sense.
Oh, you need to bump it up, man.
What
Yeah.
do you do?
I have a 6 tier rack as well. I run 6 colonies, and I have the large, like, well, excuse me. I have the concrete tubs I don't know
Mhm.
if they're the large concrete tubs, just the standard concrete tubs are about $8 at Home Depot.
Yeah.
And I run about 3.11 or 3.12, 3.11,
Wow.
and I do great. Yeah, I do great. There's very few infighting, and if there is, I'll separate that male and feed him off. There's yeah, I run 3.11, 3.12. It's great. I have a ton of production, and I'll sell the surplus animals. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's really good. I think they do well in high numbers. That's what I've always heard is high numbers. I mean, the concrete tubs, they're so big. I don't know how your tubs compare to a
I
concrete
use
tub.
I use
I
the
think you use.
I use the Freedom Breeder ASF tubs. They're 23 by 23 inches.
Hmm. Yeah.
What
Yeah, I
what
think that those might even be bigger than the concrete tubs, honestly.
Yeah, well, I have a rack that has the concrete tubs. Are they the same ones though? Like, are the concrete tubs like, I don't know what the measurements would be, maybe like 2.5 to 3 foot like long, and then maybe about 18
Yeah.
inches wide or
Yeah.
so?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and they're like 6 inches
Okay.
high
Yeah, I
with the
mean,
lip
I
and
have one rack of that for the grow ups. Yeah, I mean, dude, like,
yeah.
yeah, I might try that honestly. Maybe not that much. That seems like a lot, but
Oh
I'm
no, dude, 3.12s, yeah, all day, man. It's great. I mean, I have a ton of feeders. It's great. I have a
right.
surplus. I'd rather have way too, because there's those times where
Yeah,
stuff, and you kind of have to rotate. You'll do 3 colonies, and you'll start those. They'll drop their first litter. I'll mark the date of when they drop their first litter, and then 6 months later, I'll swap them out. So I'll
yeah,
try to have. Right now, I'm like really frustrated because I have four that are going, and then two that I just started, or four that I just started, and two that have been going. So I want to get it to 3 and 3, so
yeah,
that way when I have the grow outs, when I have the replacements growing out, it's a lot easier to swap them out.
yeah.
Yeah.
I completely get it. I need to get on that kind of schedule because I think all of my colonies are all the same age. So like I pretty much have to like build up a surplus because there's going to be like a month or two where I'm not really getting a whole
Mm,
lot.
yeah.
So I basically
Yeah.
need to like, replenish that. But yeah, that's a good idea. But I'm also about to start a few more colonies here, so hopefully I can sell off the excess to Bill and make a little bit of money off of it too.
Yeah. You have to rotate them out pretty quick, is what I
Yeah.
learned recently. And Will, I got you, bro. Whenever you're in SoCal, dude, I got you on a starter colony or whatever. So
Yeah,
hit me
I
up.
I learned that too, that you have to rotate them out. About, I would say like about 8 months old is when they really kind of start falling off a little bit. Like you pretty much need to replace the colonies like at every 6 to 8 months. And I
Yeah.
didn't know that at
Yeah.
first, like because
Yeah.
they
You
live
just
at
start feeding them. Yeah, at the end you just kind of start feeding them, and they get really big and
yeah,
kind of cranky, and they start developing issues. And yeah,
yeah,
so the males, yeah, I've had very few infighting with the males, like I said, because I've ran into the issues in the past where maybe a male will die, and that will be the only male that I had in that colony, and now you can't put another male in that colony. Even
yeah,
even though I hear people, they grow out a male from the offspring, and they let that grow up and then breed the females, which would kind of be a long time for me to go without a male. And that's my theory of the multiple males, is like at least have a backup male. It's similar to breeding reptiles. You got to have your backup male rodents
yeah.
for
I
sure.
mean, it makes sense for sure. I believe it or not, I've actually only ever had one ASF die in the colonies or
Mm.
whatever. I
Yeah,
almost have zero uh deaths.
casualties. Yeah,
Yeah,
casualties.
yeah, exactly. It's been pretty well
Yeah,
so far.
I agree. It's definitely very few and far between for myself as well. There's very few issues. I've bred Norwegians in the past, and they just get too big too fast.
Yeah,
Never tried mice. And Norwegians, they're very stinky. They're very stupid. They poop all over the place. ASF's very manageable. I only have to clean them twice a week. I'll let them go twice a week. What
hmm,
I'll do is, my brother, shout out to my brother Juan Pablo. He has a wood shop near me, and I'll just get a lot of sawdust because it's already kiln dried. It's mostly oak. He gets a lot of reclaimed oak from the Midwest, like barns, teardowns. He uses hand hewn timbers from the Midwest, like Tennessee and Kentucky Amish dairy barns.
Yeah. I get my I get my wood shavings from Tractor Supply. It's like $6 for like a massive bale of it. You know, it's almost nothing.
Yeah, not here in California though, I don't think. And there's no Tractor Supply within 100 miles of me,
Oof.
pretty much. Um,
And also a tip that MJ told me was the pellets. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you use those?
No, I don't. I don't
They
use
they
those.
really they really help out with the smell for sure.
So what I'll do is I'll get the sawdust from the wood mill and I'll put that as a base, especially in the corners. I'll put it
Hmm.
in the corners, and then I'll top it with the pine shavings, the nice white pine shavings, and then I'll put some paper shredding. I have an industrial paper shredder at work, so I'll recycle that paper middle because they never go to the bathroom in the middle. So they'll use that paper shredding as interactive material and whatnot. And I'll stretch the reason I do that, I'll stretch those pine shavings that I have to buy for as long as possible with the wood mill sawdust. And I feel like the wood mill sawdust is much more absorbent than the
Yeah.
pine shavings itself.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
probably is. Yeah.
for a California dude, it's very cost effective. Shout out to if you have a brother in the lumberyard industry
Yeah.
and you could
Yeah.
get your hands, or even any lumberyard, they sell sawdust. Sometimes you could look on OfferUp or something, find sawdust for cheap or for free. You might even find free sawdust. And I know that's not ideal. Maybe for feeders, you got to watch out for what sawdust you're using and stuff. That's why I top it with the pine shavings just to be extra safe. Haven't had any issues
Yeah.
with the sawdust. And I see you feed a lot of vegetables and fruit, man. Your ASFs are eating great, man. They eat better than me.
Yeah, me too.
I hear you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've been incorporating a lot more fruits and vegetables, being inspired by you. How
Uh,
has that been working for you?
I appreciate that. I've recently started giving them corn, you know, like the corn that you would feed deer or stuff like that. I bought
Never
like
tried that. Yeah.
I bought like a big bag so they get on a regular basis they get cat food, corn and sunflower seeds. And then on Fridays on my way to Bill's, I'll stop by Walmart and I'll pick up like a vegetable like either carrots or broccoli, sometimes fruit you know, if I feel like if it's you know, I try and find like the cheapest stuff, right?
For
So
sure.
like broccoli's cheap, carrots are cheap, bananas, they like bananas. Bananas are cheap, you know, just stuff like that. Like
Not
during
here in
Christmas,
California, everything's expensive, bro. Everything, man.
oh yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
how the prices compare, honestly, but everything in California is just it's twice the prices anywhere else, man. It's
yeah, I know.
yeah.
I went out to MJ's a couple years ago, and you know, going to the gas station, it's like six
Oh yeah.
bucks for a Red Bull or something like that. I was like, God, dude, that's
Oh
crazy.
man.
But it's a
It's
beautiful state. I love
yeah.
California.
It is, man. It is. I don't think I could ever leave the West Coast. Honestly, we'll see.
Yeah.
It's you know, and yeah, my regiment with the ASF, my staple diet is about 60% cat food and 40% Kalmbach, 23% rodent diet.
Yeah, that's probably pretty good.
So I'll mix that up and I'll give them a scoop of that pretty much every day, like a half a scoop. I'll give like half a scoop. I just have like a scooper right there ready to go, and then I will supplement every other day or so with black oil sunflower seeds at the local Walmart. They at the Walmart neighborhood market, they have a great deal on black oil sunflower seeds. Very surprising. That's where I pick up my sunflower seeds. They love those, and then I get black soldier fly larvae. I think I get a 5 pound bag from Chewy. I order my Kalmbach from Chewy and my black soldier fly larvae from Chewy. Chewy has the best prices on Kalmbach near me. Kalmbach,
Okay.
it's about $10 more on Amazon if you're lucky to even find it. They don't sell
Yeah.
it anywhere local here. It's about $37.99, I believe, on Chewy for a 50 pound bag of Kalmbach. My rodents really like the 23% Kalmbach diet. I've never tried Missouri. I looked up about it and I chose to go with the Kalmbach. It was like really up and coming. You know, it's the new trend right now. Kalmbach.
I've never heard of that.
I've jumped on.
Com
Wow.
What is it called? Kalmbach?
Yeah, Klmbach. Kalmbach.
Kalmbach. What is it?
It's a rodent. It's a uh block. It's a rodent block.
Oh, so
Yeah.
it's like Missouri. Like
Yeah, it's like
it's
Missouri.
got like all the new everything they need or
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
Yeah, I've never had a single issue with the Kalmbach. It's been great. There's no mites. I keep my bag sealed. I've heard weird things about Missouri, but I just stick to Kalmbach. Everyone's on it right now. It works. I think it's very high quality. My
Yeah.
rodents are breeding like crazy. And like I said, I'll do black oil sunflower seeds and soldier fly larvae, and then I will supplement with table scraps. I've been doing right now a lot of romaine lettuce and carrots. That's been my go-to. I'll just pick up a big bulk bag of romaine hearts and then a big bag of chopped carrots, and I'll do that. I need to do more. I think fruits and like more vegetables, maybe. I mean fruits. Excuse me.
Yeah, I
It's
think that like feeding them one thing, like how people will just feed them just Missouri or whatever, even though like it says that it's got everything in it, that just sound like, what if I were to give you,
no.
just a
Yeah.
block of food and say this is all your nutrients and everything you need, and that's all you got your entire life. It
Yeah.
just doesn't sound very good. So
Yeah,
so
they
I
need the
like to give my
fat.
rodents a little variety.
Definitely. Yeah, the mothers need the fat of the sunflower seeds and whatever fatty things you could feed
Yeah,
them.
they love sunflower seeds, man. Like
Oh
they
yeah.
as soon as I put the scoop in there, I'll close the tub and you hear them like like chewing
Yeah.
on it and stuff. They're funny, but
Yeah, and the grow outs I feed the black soldier fly larvae. I started with the dried mealworms and then switched to the black soldier fly larvae. I heard they were more calcium and more protein or something. They seem pretty cool. And they might be a little cheaper than mealworms. That I
yeah.
feed those to the grow outs especially, and that's another thing I want to touch on is the grow outs. I've noticed because I'll pull the weaned rodents. When do you pull your weaned rodents?
Whenever they are moving around pretty efficiently, like I would say, because I only breed ASF, so I would say whenever they're about the size of a small adult mouse, if that gives you kind of a size reference, like they're a full grown rodent at that point, like like they're fully established.
For sure, for sure.
I,
I
I'm
think
not in a
yeah.
huge rush to pull them, so it's
I try to pull them as soon as possible. Honestly, I'm on
yeah.
maybe I'm on the other side of the spectrum, and I heard that from some other breeders like that shall not be named because I do not want to dox them. However,
Why do you
yes,
guys pull them? Why do you guys pull them sooner?
I feel like they grow quicker. It gives the other pinkies a chance to thrive.
That makes sense.
They
Yeah.
steal from the mother's milk for sure.
Yeah,
Yes,
that makes sense for sure.
you'll see the little greedy bastards. They'll be in the corner eating some kibble, then they'll go suck on the teat, and
Yeah.
definitely. So as soon as they are kind of look perky, they have their ears poked up. They look perky. Their eyes are open, and they're like they have a little bit of body weight to them. I'll pull them, and I've noticed I had some failure recently doing that. I've had a few casualties, not too much to really talk about, like not like the whole litter got wiped out when I pulled them, but I feel like feeding them fruits and vegetables and more malleable, softer material food is able to hydrate them and transition them faster with the fruits and vegetables for the weaned rodents.
Yeah.
It's easier for them to eat and get some strength. And since I've incorporated more fruits and vegetables, I've seen much fewer casualties with the weaned rodents.
Yeah, for sure. I think that they definitely need a pretty well balanced diet, not just one thing.
Yeah, they start to get like I said, because I have so many litters dropping. If I'm running 3.11, I got 11 litters dropping, and there's like half of them are already weaned, and half of them are pinkies. They're fighting. I'll start to notice the pinkies will die off, and the weans will survive. And that's when I'll start separating them. And also, they're much more prone to escaping the little weans. They'll jump up on the top of the hardware cloth, and they'll escape easier.
Hmm.
So to avoid before.
What size are you using?
Well, it's not really the hardware cloth. I use 1/4 inch for the bulk of the lid.
Hmm.
However, I have a section of 1/2 inch where I put the food,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
the rodents can access the food. They could be
They're
escaping through the half
yeah,
inch,
they are. I had that exact same problem.
or just simply through the gap of the concrete bin.
It's possible, but I tried the 1/2 inch and I've always had escapes. You have to go 1/4 inch throughout the entire thing if you don't want any escapes.
Yeah. For the most of the time, they behave and they stay put where they are. So
Yeah.
shout out to the rodents, man. And that was a good rodent discussion. Let's
Yeah.
jump back on your social media account, if you don't mind,
Sure. Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
Warren. And which was that maniquary that, I'm sorry,
The one that Will was asking about.
the flu maniquary. Yes, there it is.
I don't know if I've
Do you
posted
have a picture of
in a
that?
while. If you scroll down a little bit, I don't know if I've posted it in a while. I know I posted on my
You
stories.
you do on your stories, yeah. I see you on your
Yeah,
stories all the time.
yeah. To be honest, I don't know. I don't think I've posted it in a while. If
All
ever,
right, yeah.
maybe. I may have
Okay.
never posted
I
it.
mean, yeah. Let's see if there's anything we could talk about.
Well, yeah.
That's
I'll tell
there's.
you what. If you go up, if you
You
can,
get this perch from Chris at Inabox 3D.
yeah.
Oh yeah. He makes his very great customer service. I like Chris.
Yeah, for sure. If you scroll up, I'll show you a sibling that's related to yours because it has the
Okay,
same lineage.
great.
Where'd he go? Yeah, right there to the right above the red one. Yeah,
Wow. This
that's
is this Shadow or
Shady.
oh Shady? Okay, yeah,
Yeah,
Shady. Wow,
he's from that Gems male that Patrick has,
wow,
and he's got he's somewhat related to your snakes.
wow.
Yeah,
Interesting, man.
yeah, he's a badass little snake.
I can't believe that that's related to my animals. That's
Yeah.
such a different phenotype avenue.
He's got such a unique melanism to him. Like most of the melanism you see is like freckly or spotty, right? But his is like a
Definitely.
shadow, like a shade all the way
Was
down his dorsal.
excuse me for asking this question. Was he a red neonate or a
Yeah.
yellow?
Yeah, he was a red. He was a red baby.
Yeah. Yeah. I think most of that pair, like that line, is red. My both of my animals were red neos.
Yeah, yeah,
And
for
like
sure.
Bill says, you can't go wrong with a red neo, a red to red pairing.
Yeah, you really can't go wrong with the red. Um, I generally try and stay more towards the reds than the yellows. I know I'm a little bit known for Aquaberry, who is a yellow, but I just number one, I kind of just like the color red better than yellow. And then secondly, they're just more proven out to be phenotypically better. But I do think that there definitely is something to yellows that I would like
Absolutely.
to go down. Yeah, that's Raindrop.
Wow.
She's a freight train mountain Drew baby.
Awesome, man. Yeah, definitely one of my goals to get out there to a September party at Mr. Stiegel, the mayor's house. Shout out
Oh,
to the
dude,
mayor,
you
man.
gotta come. You gotta come this
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. I know, man. I'm literally about to buy a plane ticket, man, and just bite the bullet and do it.
Yeah, no, you definitely do. There's a lot of people coming out this September. You should definitely come.
The DMs, okay. Did you send it to my DM? Let's see here. TPC. It's got
Yeah,
it.
there it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is the flu to maniquary male.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. And he's got a little bit of melanism on him. He's got like a couple black flecks here and there. Yeah, he's a great little snake too. He's in a Cambro tub right now. I'm not really sure what I want to do with him just yet.
How old is this animal?
He's a 2023, so he'll be coming up on 2 in a few months.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he has some nice yellow diamonds for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Do you think this animal has fully changed? Do you think it'll change more?
It might get more blue potentially
Okay.
because it came from the flu.
Do you think it has a chance of losing these yellow diamonds?
Yeah, it definitely has a chance of losing yellow diamonds for sure. I mean, it's only 2 years old. These things
I
can
think
change forever.
yeah, no. I think if it's 2 years old and it still has yellow diamonds, that's a good sign. Honestly, I'm not trying to discredit the animal at
No,
all.
it's
That's a
a good
nice,
sign for sure, but
nice animal, man.
it's definitely possible that it could lose the yellow diamonds for sure.
All right. Yeah.
It's really hard to say with a lot of these things, like with Raindrop. I've been asked a couple of times, like, is she going to turn blue, completely blue? And I'm like, dude, I don't know. Like, I mean, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if any of these things are going to turn blue or what they're going to do. It's all a roll of the dice. I hope so. I hope all of them turn blue. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Even the
Yeah.
males, but it's not up to us, and it's just one of those things that if it happens, it happens.
For sure. For sure, man. I hear you, Alex. How old is your oldest chondro?
Well, that would definitely be one of the imports, and I don't know how old they are
Mm,
because I got them as adults, and so
yeah. How old is your oldest known chondro that you know?
uh, 7, I think,
All
and
right.
I've had him for
Cool.
6 years. Yeah,
Okay.
so
Awesome. Which animal's that?
he's my first chondro. He's a male sarong. And he's an import, but I know how old he was because he was yellow when I got him, and he
Okay.
was about like maybe like 3 or 4 months away from turning green, so I know he was probably about a year and a half or so.
Okay. So Will has a question here. What are your plans with the male, the flu to Manokwari male?
I don't know. I don't have any plans with him yet. To be honest, I kind of like to keep stuff like that around. I can use it as a bargaining chip, basically. Like if somebody's looking for a really nice male, that I'm willing to let go. And I mean, it's 2 years old. It's only a year away from breeding, right? And if somebody's interested in that and they're willing to pay the price for it, I would let them go. I don't mind keeping him
Oh,
here as a
excuse me.
potential backup breeder.
Excuse me, Shady. What are
Uh,
your plans with Shady?
he'll be bred this year, hopefully. What do you say? Know the
To
block.
a Biak or what are you gonna
I,
pair
I
him
don't
with?
know. I don't know. I don't know what I want to breed to him yet. The thing is, I have some really nice males um, that I really would like for them to breed, and I don't know if they are or not. If they can get the job done relatively quickly, obviously I would rather put those males with another female rather than taking. I mean, it's not to say Shady is a lower end, because he's not. He's fantastic, but if you're going to give me the choice of a Shady clutch or a Gasanova clutch,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
I'm going to choose a Gasanova clutch.
exactly. I hear you
Uh,
100%, man.
so I,
100%.
I'm really kind of slow. Like I'm going to start pairing certain snakes first, wait to see what happens, and then pair other snakes
Yeah,
after that.
yeah, yeah,
But
for
most
sure.
likely Shady will probably be bred this year. I'm breeding 6 females this year,
Okay.
so I don't think that I have enough. I don't think that some other snakes have enough testosterone in them to nail out 6 females.
Do you have lights in any of your enclosures?
Yeah, so the ones behind me all have lights in them. The lights, the cages to my right all have lights in them. Not all of them have lights, but
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
a few of them do.
Some nice display animals. Yeah,
Yeah, I like
yeah.
to look at them.
I like lights as well.
Yeah,
For
they
sure.
look nice. Although over the years I've definitely gone a little bit less lighting. I kind of noticed that chondros like just enough light to know whether it's night or day, but
Yeah,
they don't want a bright ass fluorescent bulb in their
yeah.
face all day.
Like I have right here, an
Uh,
LED grow light.
yeah, just a
It's
regular LED looks fine to me.
it's yeah, it's definitely I have it on like the second to lowest setting and it's still
Yeah.
like blinding. If I have it on the lowest setting, it's like you can't even tell it's on almost. And yeah, I'm not sure. not sure, man. I
Yeah.
made this enclosure here in my little background. I made it. I just recently finished it up. I made it all from scratch, bro, from
Oh, I
wood, and
saw that. I saw that
I
on your
made the
stories.
yeah, I made the acrylic and the perches. I made all the perches, and
Yeah.
yeah,
No, that looks good. That looks
yeah,
really
man.
nice.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Alex. And do you have any live plants in any of your enclosures?
I do not. I I can keep snakes alive, and that's about all I care to keep.
I have that. You can see I have that
Yeah.
pothos right there.
Yeah. No, it
Pothos are
looks
really
good.
hardy.
I do like a little greenery. You can see the fake
Yeah.
plants there, but they're fake plants. I just not a huge naturalistic person.
Hey, what's up, Chondro Force? Appreciate you tapping in, bro. Thanks for sharing the stories, spreading the word. So I do a little pothos propagation project where I'll take cuttings of pothos and then I will root them out in a fish tank kind of hydroponic setup. Like there's you could take cuttings and put them in the fish tank and then they will root out and then I will pot them and then put them in the chondro enclosures and they take off because of the humidity, the heat and humidity. It's like a grow room. It's like a little grow
Yeah.
room, It's a really cool and they just take off and that's pretty much why like how I do and then I'll like give the plants to a friend or I'll sell the plant or whatever. Like I'll just keep the cycle continues, so might as well take advantage of that ecosystem while it's there.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
my thought of it.
I
I just put the pot. I'm sorry. Go
Well,
ahead.
I was gonna say I used to have a bioactive that I kept my blue and Solaris in, and that thing was badass, dude. I loved it. It was, like it had like the pothos growing in the bottom of it, and that snake did really well in there.
Yeah, yeah, I'm not a fan of the bioactive still. I still prefer
I'm not
sterile.
either.
Yeah.
I'm not either. But with venomous vipers, it's a little different.
Hey, since you brought it up, let's freaking let's fucking hammer it, bro. Fuck. I Nothing irks me more than when someone gets like maybe a fresh import or a fresh captive bred neo and they throw it in that bioactive. Oh man, I'm just like,
Yeah,
oh,
I'm not a fan of that either.
oh man, it just I reach out to him immediately. Hey, bro, come on.
Yeah,
Actually, I have a DM in my Instagram right now. I just told someone, hey, he got like two fresh imports and cohab them in a
in a
bioactive
bioactive.
terraria, exoterra. And first of all, exoterra, no, not even like. And I could see maybe if the exoterra is bioactive, okay, it has a humidity and stuff, but I just got rid of all. That's why I built this enclosure right here. I had it in an exoterra. No, actually, this female was not in an exoterra. She was in a smaller enclosure. I upgraded her, but then I took the male that I put in her enclosure out of the exoterra.
Yeah.
So I'm anti exoterras for arboreal species for sure, man.
I am too.
Yeah,
Some people have luck with them, but I've never had
yeah,
luck with them, and it's mainly the sheds. I can never get a good shed in an Exoterra. It's never worked for me.
yeah. They did fine. They did fine. I just feel like they weren't thriving. They definitely were not thriving.
Yeah, it's never really worked for me. I've even tried to like tape off the screen lid or whatever, and it just doesn't work for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, yeah.
PVC or tubs is what I use, and.
Yeah, because they just the heat escapes like through the glass, like the glass gets freezing cold, and then
Yeah,
it just doesn't work, man. It's impractical.
yeah, it
So
doesn't
yeah, if
work.
you I've so even cocoa, I don't use cocoa. I've never had a need to. I'd like to. I like you see, I have a live plant in there. Yeah, I wish I could do bioactive. I wish I could do cocoa, but I just know what's best for the animal. I just
Yeah.
know there's going to be fungus gnats growing in there, and then
I
I
tried
need.
cocoa like maybe about 3 years ago. I put everything on cocoa, and it just the snakes would dig around at night, and it would like gunk up their face. Like
Oh yeah,
they would be perched, and you could see like dirt in their heat pits and over
oh
their eyes
yeah,
and stuff. And
yeah,
I just said screw this. Like, and
yeah.
plus
It's like
you can't really clean it. Like
yeah,
it's if they poop in it, there's always going to be like something in there, and So
Yeah.
it
I
just
do
doesn't really
either
work out too well.
newspaper or puppy pads.
I use paper
Prefer
towels and puppy pads.
preferably puppy pads. I have a local newspaper that I can get in bulk just for free, just free newspaper. It's been working great. I know Marshall Mendez keeps on newspaper, unprinted newspaper,
Hmm.
and that's very inspiring. I reached out to Marshall and asked him about his newspaper. Yeah, I haven't had a need to use a actual substrate. I've been doing great on puppy pads and newspaper.
Yeah.
I would not I don't see myself switching anytime soon. I
No.
would like to. I love cocoa. I love the look of it, but I know what's best for the animals, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
I love just monitoring the urates and the defecations as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. It's a lot easier to see if they've pooped, from a distance. It's kind of hard if they're on cocoa and they've pooped. You have to walk up to the cage and look at it and actually inspect it. Um, but yeah, I'll probably stay on puppy pads and paper towels. I don't think I'll ever change that.
Yeah, I see Chuck. He's a fancy fly trap. You gotta send me the link on IG, bro. I'd really appreciate it, man. Cause springtime over here in Cali is no joke.
Chuck's got a link for everything.
Yeah, and shout out to Chuck, man.
Yeah,
Uh,
I love Chuck.
he has some of the nicest enclosures I saw. He has the palm leaves hanging from the top, and I copied him for sure, man. He inspired me with those.
Yeah.
I saw that. I instantly went to Amazon and bought some palm leaves for my other enclosures. Actually, I'll try to throw up my other screensaver that shows them. And let me get you another question, Alex. I appreciate your time, man. Thanks for
Yeah, for
hanging in
sure.
there tonight, bro. And I think we're having a great discussion, man. I think it's going great. This
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
episode. So right here, if you guys can see, I'll switch to
Yeah.
this one for now. I got the palm leaf inspired by Chuck.
Yeah.
Thank
It,
you,
it almost
Chuck.
it almost looks
And
exactly like Chuck's
so
enclosure.
speaking on this, and I built this enclosure myself too. I have the chicken coop heater. On the other enclosure as well, I have all chicken coop heater radiant heat panels.
Yeah.
They're
Very
like
nice.
$25 on Amazon.
Hmm.
I have the palm leaf inspired by Chuck. So these chondros, they'll stay underneath these leaves the whole time because I have the grow light as well. I have this like super bright grow light. It's, some LED grow light bulb, and that's what grows the plants so fast. And it's I yeah, so they go and they hide underneath the foliage all the time. At night they'll come out, which is pretty cool. And honestly, I don't mind if they go and hide. And
Yeah, I don't either. I have two females that have like a big palm leaf just like that, and both of them will come off the top perch at night because the palm leaf is actually lower in the cage, and they will come underneath that palm leaf and sit there throughout the night underneath that palm leaf. So it's nice to see them actually use stuff like that. What did Chuck say?
he got his palm leaves from Hobby Lobby.
There's so many. Yeah.
Straight up. I
Yeah.
got one near me. I gotta go check it out, Chuck. And yeah, so one thing about this setup, in contrary, I like about Mark Hager's setup. I noticed I'm like, wow, why do Mark Hager's setups look so cool? His new setups from Heartland Enclosure,
Hmm.
Jordan.
Hmm.
Heartland Reptiles. I'm sorry. Heartland Reptiles enclosures that he got. When you see his wall of enclosures, it looks so cool at a glance. You can see all the chondros on their perches. But with this setup that I have, you cannot see the chondro. And that's why I like this other I haven't put the foliage into the new setups that I created recently. And I'm really liking I want to see the animal.
Yeah, I do too.
This enclosure right here. So you can see the chondro at a glance, whether it be an emerald or That's what I was like noticing. Oh, I'm like, oh, chondro. Mark doesn't have any foliage in his enclosure, so the chondros aren't hiding. You could just see them all right there. And that's one thing that's killer about a nice chondro wall is that you can actually see the chondros. And I know Chuck's setup is a little different, where I think the perches are a little lower and the palms are higher, so they don't have the ability to hide as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the one palm leaf, that's not really taking away from the aesthetic of the actual snake too much. So I think it's kind of like the perfect mixture, of of putting some foliage in there and still being able to see your animal.
Yeah, yeah. So no live plants really.
Nope, no live plants for me.
What lighting are you using?
Just LEDs, like, cheap $10.
Yeah.
They're like the strip ones, that you peel off the
Okay.
back. I just stick them to the top of the cage, and that does pretty well. I haven't
Yeah.
had any fall down yet, and I've had these for several years now, so they've done really well. I did
I
sleep in
use
that cage.
I use aquarium lights. They're LED aquarium grow lights. I believe they're maybe Higer lights. They're called. I just had a bunch of excess. I was trying to be a tropical fish breeder before I was a ball python to chondro breeder, which is very hard actually. I bred some Coriodoras catfish and very hard to establish the fish fry. It's
Mhm.
extremely hard. You have to feed them live baby brine shrimp, and you have to keep the water crystal clear or else fungus that yeah, it's very difficult to breed fish. It's very difficult. You thought chondros were hard? Oh man, try breeding some fish. So I had a bunch of excess aquarium lights that I used, and I just threw them in all my cages. And I bought those that other bulb was an Amazon LED grow light bulb, that brighter bulb, and I put a cage around it. I noticed that bulb emits a lot of heat. So I put a cage around it so the animal can't wrap around the bulb and burn itself. I put a heat cage on there.
Yeah,
I found the animal perched on the heat cage one time, and I took the animal off the heat cage. It never went back since.
good.
And yeah,
They chondros will definitely try and kill themselves for sure.
yeah, for sure. You guys thoughts on UVB and LEDs causing blue scar burns? I've never used UVB on my chondros, so I wouldn't know. I haven't had any issues with LEDs or my grow out lights. They stay underneath the shade of the foliage as well. If you're gonna use a light, a really strong light, I definitely recommend some foliage to hide underneath.
Yeah,
But LEDs, you shouldn't have any concern.
yeah.
I don't. The
I
UVB,
definitely wouldn't use a strong light at all. Really, I would stay away from that if you can. Um, I do kind of have a little bit of a short story about that. Not UVB, but LEDs. I had them in my Cambro rack right here, and the LEDs in it were super bright. I mean, like if you looked at them, they were like blinding. And I had them on, they would come on like 12 hours a day. And one of my green trees started developing like these almost like purple spots on it, like purple patches. And I was like, oh, sick! Look at that OCC. And it wasn't. It was the
wow,
LED lights, I guess, because when I moved, I ripped the LED lights out of there, and those purple spots went away after a couple sheds, and they never came back, and it never happened on any more of them. So I definitely think that lighting does have to do with their colors for sure. I think that's something a scientist should investigate.
yeah, yeah. That kind of reminds me of when you get a fresh import and it sheds after like the first 3 to 4 sheds, it might change a little bit of coloration. I'm sorry. How's my connection? Is my connection all right now?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear you good.
Okay, cool. Thank you. If anyone in the chat, drop a comment if the connection's all good. Yeah. So like I think I heard Ryan Young said they still have that bush meat on them. I have a import. She looked like she definitely had some bush meat on her. She was advertised as a Lyra female,
Mm-hmm.
and she was very dark when I got her, and she finally had her first shed, and she definitely looks a lot lighter. It's going to be interesting to see after the next three sheds what coloration she has on her. And that kind of segues into another topic I want to ask you about, Alex. Is I heard on a podcast recently, Bill Stiegel stated that you had some success with importing subadult female green tree pythons.
I've bought imports. I
Okay.
mean, all of my clutches have all come from import females.
Well, that's a huge accomplishment, bro. Yeah, man. I mean, dude,
Thank
that's
you.
amazing, man. I
Yeah,
mean, I
thank
wasn't expecting that answer, honestly. Uh,
yeah.
you know, that
It's
makes me feel good. I have it like I'm sorry. I have a female import as well. She was a subadult when I got her. She's 300 grams. She was sold as an adult, but she seems more like a juvenile to subadult. She's 300 grams, and I hope that she thrives. She's been doing great so far. No, she tested Nido negative. She's been doing great eating. What do
yeah.
you
I
think,
mean,
Alex? Share me your success stories with the female imports, man. It's very inspiring for the whole hobby. It's very rare. I feel like. Thank you, man.
yeah. I don't really think there's anything wrong with it as long as you understand what you're getting into. If as long as you're not paying, a stupid amount of money for an import female, it's definitely worth a shot. It's Patrick said one time it's a really good way to add an adult female into your collection. You just have to take the
Yeah,
proper procedures for it. You have to quarantine, you have to nido test multiple times, and I even like to do a full panel test on it at the RAL lab, and just to see. And once you do all that, you can move it into your collection and make sure that it establishes really well. And after that, I mean, honestly, they're just like any other chondro. I mean, they're just as solid as anything else. There's nothing really there's nothing wrong with them.
yeah,
But you have to start from the beginning. You have to make sure that you know what you're getting into. You have to pay the appropriate price for it. In other words, if something were to happen to it, you should be okay with losing that money. And which is kind of why
yeah.
I really kind of try to stay away from captive bred females because they have a higher price tag on them, and it's just not worth it to me.
Absolutely.
I'll have my high end males and I'll breed them to import females, or I also have captive bred females as well, but I'll breed them to those, and then I'll make my own high end females. I don't want to buy them. I want to make my own.
Yeah.
So
Shout out to the Trap Talk Reptile Network. That's where I heard this information on All in the Treat Tuesdays episode with Mike Marshall. If you guys missed that episode, please go rewatch it. It was a banger. And shout out to Mike Marshall because he did help me with my import female on this as we discussed this topic. He recommended that I soak it right away. He was firm belief. He told me Nido test it, bro. Nido test everything right away, bro.
yeah,
And soak it. I soaked it as soon as I got it. I soaked it. I soaked the shit out of that female, and she did great. And shout out to Mike Marsh. He's been a great help for me, bro. He's always been there for me. He's a great guy, man. He'll answer the phone any time of day. And glad
that's
he
good.
got to be on the trap recently. And yeah, and I got this female, and I'm feeling good, man. But how big was your females? How big was each of the female? I don't know how many import females you have. How many import females do you have? How big were they when you got them?
They were adults. Well, the two that have given me clutches, they were both adults when I got them. But the thing is they didn't give me a clutch for a couple years. One of the females I got from Dan Malari, and I got her in 2021. and she was the female that just laid my clutch back in 2024. So, even though you start off with adults, it's not like you're going to get a clutch right away. And I have some other import animals. I have one Biak up here that is a subadult. She's probably about 2.5 years old. But I'm not exactly looking for adults right now. I've got a good amount of adult females, so at this point I'm a little bit more patient on it. I just want the snake to be healthy, really.
Yeah.
I want it to be
So
mite free. I want it to have good weight on it,
yeah.
and I want it to look good. I don't necessarily need an adult female, but its ribs are poking out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
This is a sorry. This is a Biak female that I got, was a Craigslist animal, supposedly captive born and bred by Harlan Wall. She's a Biak. She's pretty cool looking. Her name's Pasadena. That's where I
okay,
got her from,
very
in the
nice.
city of Pasadena. I'm naming all my chondros of cities on the West Coast. So I got Calabasas, Topanga, Pasadena, San Isidro. Some of those so far are the names my chondros.
And how many like adults do you have?
Well, the Patrick Holmes male is pretty much an adult. He was born in 22, so he's about 2.5, maybe 3 years old. That's an adult male. He's ready to breed.
Hmm.
Uh, and this female is about 5 years old. I have a male, like I said, a Craigslist chondro. He's that San Isidro one. Let me pull him up on my Instagram here. He was a Craigslist chondro. I don't know how old he was. I think someone acquired him in a trade for some enclosures. This was that one, that big bug-eyed motherfucker.
Yeah.
This is him
One
when
that-
he was going into shed.
yeah, the one that looks like
Th-
a female.
yeah, except he sheds giant sperm plugs. This is when I
Yeah.
introduced him. So this is the Biak Pasadena. This is San Isidro right here. He's an interesting looking uh animal.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean,
And
you've got a couple pairs going then.
yeah, I've paired them up, and San Isidro, he was finally showing some interest in the female, and she just wasn't going for it. She just might not be going so far, and I've just had her. I just got her. Maybe I've had her in my collection for about 4 months, like 6 to 4 months, I'd say 4 to 6 months. Patrick Holmes said that this might be a eastern type locality, like a Utarensis type.
Uh-huh.
Really interesting male, almost like a patternless. It's strange. He has some blue. When the animals get older, they start to get a little washed out. So I'm wondering if that's what happened with this male. Who knows how old he is? He looks like he's at least 10 years old plus. I mean, he is
Yeah, it
huge.
looks like a
He
big
is,
male.
yeah, he is huge. I think he's like, I mean, compared, he's almost the same size of this female. I mean, yeah, but he shed plugs multiple times, and yeah, he is huge, man. And
Yeah.
yeah, just I was almost gonna just flip him at first, but then I started to just kind of take a liking to him. This is very early when I got this Lyra female. This is very early. Here, one meal down. She's only eaten one meal since this picture right here. This is her quarantine setup that I have. Perch holders by Chris at Innobox 3D. Right here. This is the Libra female right here. This is that same Libra female. Her name's Agora Hills, so that's a
Mm.
city out here in the valley.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah,
You
no,
can see,
that's
I
a good
think
looking
this is
snake.
the shed. Her first shed, yeah. So she was sold to me as a Lyra. She looks like a sarong, but I, however, I have to say that the green looks a little darker than a sarong. It'll be interesting to see when I get the sarong from Travis, the United States captive born and bred sarong from Travis via Kino,
Mm.
if how she compares color wise with the greens. We'll see. She ate 2 meals after this picture right here. She's a good import. This is the import that I have, and
Yeah,
pretty happy with her
that's a nice
here.
looking animal for sure.
Yeah, let's get back on topic right here. Yeah, so man, congratulations on. So how many clutches have you had from import females?
I've had three. I've had
Okay, awesome, man.
I've had two from one female and one from another.
Wow, that's amazing, Alex. That's so inspiring, man. Honestly.
Yeah, yeah, there's definitely nothing wrong with it for sure.
So with your water bowls, do you have any arboreal water bowl holders, or you use only
Yeah,
the Pyrex dishes? What do you have?
I have a couple like arboreal holders, but majority of my stuff is on like a dog water bowl on the floor.
Okay, yeah, same
Yeah,
here. I do kind of half and half. I'll offer an arboreal water bowl holder and a floor. I've got some Tupperware containers I just picked up. I
yeah,
was on the dog. I still have some dog bowls, and I'm like half dog bowl, half Tupperware right now.
mhm. Yeah. I like to use the dog bowls just because they add a little bit more water than the arboreal holders, because the arboreal
Yeah,
holders can only hold like a deli cup worth of
yeah,
water,
yeah.
and in a
It's more
three
for the humidity.
in a 3 foot cage, that's not very much water. So
For sure. And when I place the arboreal water bowl holders, I place them near a perch so at least the animal can like see it's easy for them to drink from the arboreal water bowl holder.
yeah, yeah,
I'll,
definitely.
I'll I'll place them near a perch. Sometimes I'll see people they'll have like the water bowl will be like way over there. It's like, yeah, no wonder they don't drink from it because it's like what, it's like so
Yeah,
far away from their perch.
yeah,
So
definitely.
you use puppy pads or newspaper mostly?
I use puppy pads and paper towels.
Paper towels? Okay. No
Yep,
newspaper, huh?
no newspaper. Mm-mm. I think I've never really tried newspaper, but I mean the paper towels and the puppy pads are both so absorbent. They can absorb moisture pretty well.
Yeah, definitely. For sure. I noticed that with my newspaper it dries out very quick.
Yeah,
They don't hold much moisture.
yeah, and it kind of deteriorates pretty easily too.
Yeah. I haven't noticed that. But what was your experience keeping emerald tree boas or boa?
Yeah, boa.
Yeah.
I liked it. I thought it was cool. Um, I traded it for a chondro. I mean, I don't know if that
Yeah.
that tells you how that went, but I liked it. I liked it. It just the offer kind of just came up that, like, hey, and like, I'll trade you this chondro for that emerald. And I was like, yeah, sure, let's do it, because I didn't really have any plans on, it was a female emerald, and I didn't really have any
Okay.
plans on breeding her or anything, or if I did, then I'd have to find a male. And I like to just focus on one thing. So maybe one day down the line I might breed emeralds, but I really like to just focus on one thing at a time.
For sure, man. Yeah, I love emeralds, bro. Honestly, they were my first arboreal species was an emerald tree boa.
Yeah.
It was Yeah, it was. I've had some experience with other reptiles, and with the green tree pythons, I felt like, man, that you really need to, yeah, and like Will says right here, man, shout out to the basins. With the green tree pythons, I didn't want to do it wrong, bro. I wanted to just go nice from the get go, bro. That's why I hit up Kino. I wanted some cyclops originally, and he steered me toward the locality outcross animal that I have now,
Hmm.
which I'm great. I'm cool with, and I was happy to support Kino.
Hmm.
But I was into the Cyclops. He has some really nice pure Cyclops locality stuff, man. He's really low key about his stuff. Also, man, he doesn't really post. He doesn't flex a lot I feel like he really keeps it under wraps, and he's humble about it. He doesn't want to show it until he knows it's good, man. That's it, and it's good to go, and it's breeding. It's on eggs. He doesn't post something until it's sitting on eggs, bro.
Yeah, I've definitely understood that thinking
I
over the
you know
years.
I've had my experience with just stuff, and that's with the chondros. I really wanted to do it right the first time. I didn't want to have to come back
Yeah, well, unfortunately
and
with chondros, even when you do it right, you're still gonna get kicked in the nuts sometimes.
yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure, man. And yeah, I love emeralds. I have a 1.1 pair currently. I feel like I'm good with the chondros where I'm at. I have a sarong female coming in from Kino, like I said, and that'll really cap off my collection.
Hmm.
I'll have a good ratio then, and I'd really like to just focus on that group that I have. I'll have, let's see, I'll have two males and one, two, three, four fem. Sorry, excuse me. One, two, three, four. Yeah, I'll have. I think I'll have a 2.4 chondro ratio,
Hmm. And so that's it,
and
right?
that's.
You're done after that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, because
Until something else
and
comes
here's the
up.
thing. Here's the thing, bro. It's like it's so like there's not like excuse my likes and ums and so's. I'm sorry, guys. The opportunities to buy a nice chondro is very few and far between.
It is.
It's very hard to find something that you like and get. There's a lot of generic stuff out there. I'm not into just buying Beox. Excuse me for that.
Yeah,
What I'm
no,
trying to say is the opportunities are very far and few between.
yeah,
You
I
can
get it.
get lucky at a show. If you go to a show, you could see something you like and get lucky.
Yeah, yeah, you definitely can. I feel like the stuff with the show has kind of already made it through so many people that you're kind of seeing. I don't want to say the bottom of the barrel, but you're that the stuff of the show has already been picked through so many times. Like all the good shit's really gone, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just like MJ saying right here, yo yo. No, Beox are bro. The melanistic, the red neos, bro. They're where it's at. Honestly, they're where it's at, bro.
I kind of
Like
agree with MJ.
I just
I got some Biak in my collection
no,
for
dude.
sure.
Beox are fire. Like I said, I got a Beox right here, sitting in the picture right here.
Yeah.
And no, MJ's line of Beox is superior, man. If I ever got a Beox, I'm getting it from you, MJ. Honestly, dude, bro. That
Yeah,
would be
and
a female. Yeah, that would be
I
a project I would work
I
with,
will
bro.
say the two people that have the best Biak lineups are Patrick, obviously, and MJ. Both of them have some
Yeah,
really
man.
nice Biaks.
No, I apologize. I would that was no. I'm just saying, like when you go to the shows, all you see, that's all you see, man. Over here in Cali, man, and it
Yeah,
gets
it's
a little like
Biaks. Yeah.
it gets a little, But
Well,
what
well,
to
let me
see
ask
what
you.
MJ's doing on his level is just a whole nother ball game, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let me ask you something. Like, what are you going for? Like, what are you trying to produce?
Blue, I'm going to produce like blue, but
Well,
I'll
well, then Biak probably isn't your thing.
yeah.
if if you're trying to
But
produce,
I like melanistic too.
yeah.
Honestly, I'm just trying to produce something at this point, man. Honestly,
Just whatever you
um,
can.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Shout out to MJ, bro. Like the Beox he's producing is amazing, bro. The pairings he has.
Yeah.
Also, Tuck at Purple Rain, his stuff with his Jaeger bloodline. The Jaeger bloodline. When you put that to the Beox, it's amazing. No,
Yeah. I mean, realistically, if you cross, a designer to a Biak, the sky's the limit with that. You can get anything from that. You can get high blue, high black, high yellow. You can get whatever. So
yeah.
that's amazing. Yeah. I mean,
What
you
I
could
was
just
trying
get
to really get
so much
at,
cool shit. Go ahead.
I kind of lost my train of thought, but what I was trying to get at is
You were
I
trashing B.
wasn't. Nah, bro, I'm not trusting Bucks, bro. Bucks are the shit, bro. Bucks like they eat great. They have good bloodline. They're awesome, man. I can't diss. They're big animals. I love Bucks, bro. I love them, man. I just love chondros, dude, in general. But
Yeah,
what
me
I was
too.
trying to get at is I wasn't trying to buy neonates, bro. I did this with the ball pythons where I bought a few hatchlings. I'm like, man, this is gonna take me 3 years to grow this to reproduce something. Like, so when I got into chondros, I'm like, I'm not buying a neonate, bro. I can't do it. I can't buy
That's
a
the
neo.
best. That's the best way to
Yeah.
go, though.
I know,
Oh,
yeah. Mike Marsh always says, I gotta buy a
yeah.
neo, buy a neo. I'm just like, dude, I can't buy a neonate, bro. So I looked and I found some good opportunities. I found some yearlings. I found that Bill Stiegel animal from Patrick
Oh,
Holmes.
so you've never bought a
Um,
Neo, like a red or
I've
yellow Neo?
never bought a neo. Never bought a
Wow.
neo, bro. Yep,
Wow.
yep. And I don't know if I ever will. No, no, I'll buy one from MJ if I do. That'll be one of my
Mm-hmm.
first, dude, for sure.
A Biak
Um,
from MJ.
yeah, for sure, man.
Well, the thing is with neonates is that, like, yeah, it does take forever, but also if a chondro is a year and a half, 2 years old, that's pretty close to a neo. You really can skip at least a year or two and get closer to that breeding time, right? Because at a year or 2 years old, they're not fully established. It's not like you're bringing in a 7-year-old female into your collection that's could probably die. Um,
Yeah,
so I don't really see a problem with bringing in a year or two older, but I mean, hey, I've brought in full on adult females and I've gotten clutches from them, so
yeah,
but
yeah.
I will say
That's
I have brought in adult females and they have died. So
yeah,
just know what you're getting into.
yeah, for sure, man. I'm playing with fire, man. But you know, I don't know. I feel like I've only have one known import animal that I know of thus
Hmm.
far, and she's doing good.
Well, if
And
you're looking for designer chondros though, like
yeah,
aren't you like you probably have to buy a neo at some point, right? Like it's not like you can buy a
yeah,
blue male. I mean that, especially a designer, like that never comes up.
yeah, yeah, and that's where it's like my budget just becomes a limit, bro. It's like if I could do it, I would do it, bro. If I would be the designer king, but I can't, man. We can't have it all.
Well, we all
So yeah, I can't do it all, bro. I can't. I stick to I try to build what I could, bro. This is what I got, and you know, we'll work with it.
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, yeah, definitely. I tried I learned with the ball pythons, like buying hatchlings was man really just the long game, and I was like, oh man, with the chondros, I cannot buy a neo, man. I can't do it. So that's another you know thought process that came to my mind when
I I
thinking about
wish I wish females only took 3 years to get up to size. I
yeah,
bought majority of my collection I bought as Neos back in 2020, 2021. And I played the long game. I waited this entire
yeah,
time, and it stretches out sometimes. And like this year is the first year that I'll really get to see, you know, what I'm able to do with those snakes that I've raised up from neonates. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't want to say one thing or the other, but a lot of the OG breeders, they all say raise it up as a neonate, and it does make sense for sure.
for sure, for sure, man, for sure. And I'm here, bro. I'm here, dude. I could always buy a neo, bro, when I'm ready, man. Like I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah,
You know, I'm in it for the long run, bro. It's like MJ says, dude. It's gonna take a lot to take me out of this shit, bro. Like I've been here my whole life. You guys see pictures of me. I was 15 years old, bro, going to reptile super shows, bro.
yeah,
I've been in this a long time, man.
yeah. Hey, that's
It
all it
might
takes is staying power.
So you're keeping emeralds. So yeah, you're not thinking of getting any more emeralds in the near future.
I don't have any emeralds right now.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
well, I have a chondro, I have a boa, and I have a blue and solaris.
The emerald that you had, was it wild caught
Mm-hmm.
and it was eating good, no problems?
I got
Was
it
it
from.
male or it was a female?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
How big was it? Was it subadult?
Yeah, it was probably like 2 years old. It's a lot bigger now. It went to Marlin, exotic keeper vision. Me and him traded.
Wow. Chuck and I share another thing in common. I don't know if he's being facetious here.
No, he's never bought a
He's
neonate.
Yeah, I've never bought a neonate, bro. I mean, I see a lot of people they buy neonates. I'm like, man, I'm 2 years ahead of you now. Like,
Yeah, but when you're buying a neonate, you also don't know what you're getting. You could get some
yeah,
crazy shit.
yeah, 100%, man. I've seen some people with some crazy shit, bro.
Yeah, when you buy adults, you know what you're getting. If that thing's
Yeah,
already green, it's green.
yep, 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 bro. Uh, but yeah, Alex, that's pretty much that's the list of topics that I had. What could we get into, man? What do you want to get into? What's on your mind recently? If you have anything, how have your animals been doing? They've been eating good. You feed multiple meals back to back, or you feel feed one big meal?
Yeah, I feed one big meal. I feed every Sunday, and I just feed, like the appropriate meal size for that. I don't want to have to come back an hour later and feed again or
Yeah.
whatever.
And then
Uh,
how frequently do you feed most of the time?
so my adults, I feed every about 2 to 3 weeks or so. In the winter, I slow down. I'll feed them about every month, and then the neonates I feed every week, and then up until around I'd say up until around 2.5, 3 years old is when I switch them over to every 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so yeah.
Get the
Um,
question from the homie right here. I'm pretty far from breeding my emeralds. My female is still pretty small. I think she needs another year or two to get to size where I would pair her. I want to acquire some more emeralds for sure, man. I really love that species. I wish I could get a basin. I wish I could get some basins, but fortunately, you gotta work with what you got, man. So, but yeah, I love the northerns too. Northerns are really nice. The Miss Willie lines like MJ has.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Those northerns are really really pretty animals.
Yeah, I love them, bro. I love the emeralds. They're just a little different. They're a little different than the chondros for sure. And
Yeah, they do act a little different. Um, they seem more sensitive to like heat, not necessarily like from the panel, but from like the
yeah,
rodent itself. Like
yeah,
like the rodent has to be a little bit more hot for them to seek it out. I don't know if maybe that was
mhm,
just the one I had or what, but like I always had to make sure that that rodent was like really hot for it to
yeah,
seek it out.
yeah. That's one thing is I almost felt like the opposite because one of my chondros that I got, was a United States captive born and bred, and it was stuck on frozen thawed rats. So I fed it a 6 pack of frozen thawed, and then I was able to transition it to lot pre-killed rodents,
Mm-hmm.
and now it'll only, well, it probably will take frozen thawed, but it'll only take pre-killed rodents. And so that was great. That was huge. And even, yeah. So the when I had frozen thawed, I would really have to reheat that rodent over and over for the green tree python to take it. It wouldn't heat, like it would kind of refuse it. if it wasn't maybe a certain temperature, and I would reheat it, and then boom, it would take it. And now
Right.
I'm just happy it's on pre-killed rodents, man. It's so much easier, and yeah, it's almost like it's like fully. Yeah, it would take uh fresh killed rodent. Now it only takes like fresh killed rodents,
Yeah,
which is
that's
great,
good.
man. Because I don't feed frozen thawed. It's a challenge for me over here. I breed my own rodents, so it's like why would I feed a frozen thawed rodent?
Right,
And
for sure.
yeah, so yeah, the emeralds are super sick. And also, yeah, I got some Solomon Island tree boas recently. I got a 1.1 pair, like Mark Hager has his little one-off species of
Mhm.
Solomon Island tree boas. I was recently at the Reptile Breeder Show in Los Angeles. I saw a breeder, an importer. He had a really nice female, and he had a nice male also to go with it. See
Yeah,
here before I get
I've
into
seen
that.
marks before.
If Gasson
Yeah,
knows it gives you a clutch.
yeah, I am holding them all back if he gives me a clutch.
Yep. Good question, Will. Good question, buddy. Yep. Um,
Probably
appreciate
the
you guys
first.
tapping in, dude. Again, if you guys are still hanging in there, bro, appreciate all the viewers, dude. Like rewatch this episode. I'm trying to drop some questions, man. I'm honestly I ran out of questions, but we're gonna try to keep it going. Alex, dude, thank you again, man, for coming. It's been an honor for having you on the West Coast.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
no
said,
problem.
I picked up a 1.1 Solomon Island tree boas, man. I really liked them. I saw a really nice melanistic female that the importer had. He seemed like a super cool importer. He said he did all the blood work and the fecal test, and it all came back clean. He's had him for almost a year or something like that. So I
Hmm.
ended up copying a pair of 1.1,
Nice.
and they seem. I just fed them one meal so far. They've only been in my care for maybe a few weeks now, and I fed them one meal so far, and I had to buy live rats, uh, rat pinkies to be exact, because
Hmm.
they refused the desert field mice. They were not into them. They've never seen them before.
And they ate the rats.
So yeah, I fed them. I offered them the desert field mice. They refused. The next day, I went and bought a couple rat pinkies, and they almost immediately ate them.
Nice.
And that was one thing I was like, oh, a rodent's a rodent. They're not gonna know the difference, but they really do, man. They
Yeah.
can smell the difference of the rodent, man. It was so we'll see how long it takes to trend, to convert them as well to the desert field mice. Hopefully, the sooner the better. I haven't tried to offer one since, and they're a very interesting species. Really slow, almost like a dinosaur. These Solomon Island tree boas, very
Yeah.
different species, man. They're just like slower all the way around. Really slow
Yeah.
animals.
I saw marks. His are pretty cool. I like marks. They're pretty
Yeah,
badass.
I wouldn't even know what they were if it wasn't for Mark, man. Shout out to Mark, man. There's a lot of things I wouldn't know if it wasn't for these, people that we look up to in this hobby, man. I couldn't.
Yeah.
The
Well,
list goes
shit.
on.
I can't speak highly enough about Bill. I mean,
Oh
Bill has pretty much,
man,
you know, built me up from the ground up. Like
he's so
half
cool,
of my
man. Yeah,
collection comes from him, and
yeah.
Bill has
And
just
he's
been
yeah. I feel like he
amazing.
he might have answered a phone call of two of mine, or he's answered every text message I sent him. He's always there. I haven't bothered him in a while. I know he's a really busy guy. I haven't bothered him since like maybe a month after I
Hmm.
got the animal from him, and I updated him. Hey, the animal's thriving, man. The animal's doing great. I got from you. Thank you so much.
Great. Yeah, he
I'm
loves
glad.
to hear feedback like that.
Yeah, for sure. When you are getting your clutches and whatnot, and are you cycling your females? Are you doing food cycling or anything like that, or temp cycling?
Yeah, I will temp cycle a little bit, and I kind of just let the natural weather do that. Whenever it cools down is when they get cycled there, and then that's when I'll usually drop the food as well. And yeah, and I don't really, I guess technically I light cycle. I have the natural light come in from a window. So I guess
Yeah,
when
for
in
sure.
the winters, when the days get shorter, that means that the lights will get shorter as well. But yeah, I guess I do all three technically, and I'm on ambient right now. Well, I've been on ambient for like almost 2 years now, and
Oh wow,
it's worked
wow.
out pretty well.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, ambient. That's cool, man.
yeah.
I wish I had that ability to do. But
Yeah,
fortunately, I don't.
it's definitely made things a lot easier for me.
And your YouTube channel, man, you're really dropping some gems on your YouTube channel. That's one thing I forgot to touch on is you're doing a great job, bro. I really hope you keep the content coming. Thank you,
Thank
Alex, for there's very few, like I said, there's very few information. There's
yeah. Yeah, there is, and that's really the reason I kind of made the YouTube channel in the first place is number one, to get my name out there a little bit more, and then number two, to give out information. I feel like the more information that's out there and easily accessible, the more popular these things will become. And I would love for
yeah.
every household in America to have a chondro in it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so it just makes things better for everybody if you put information out there, especially how to keep them, what to do when stuff happens, how to
Yeah.
establish them, all that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely be putting out videos, consistently from here on out. So,
Yeah, yeah. I
and
look forward to
huge
that.
huge shout out to Jaffe too. He doesn't like me shouting him out, but I'm going to anyway. But he edits all my videos, and
Oh, really?
yeah,
Wow, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
edits.
does a great job. Yeah. I
Yeah,
was
and
gonna
so
say like it takes a long time to edit. You really like I do some videos too, and it takes a real one to
yeah,
upload YouTube videos, bro. So
yeah,
salute to you, bro.
for sure. Yeah,
Alex Warren, man.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Jaffe. I mean, really, I didn't want to edit them at all, and I didn't even want to make the YouTube channel. But he was the one who was like, "Look, if you send me the footage, I'll edit it." And I was like, "All right, let's do it."
Yeah,
Look at that, Chuck. Wow.
yeah, man. You are, bro. You are, man. We've all learned so much from you, and I couldn't be, more honored to have you on. And I hope everyone that watches this episode learned something. I try to like keep it, like I said, just straight to the point. A lot of stuff here we're kind of winding down, and I'm getting, I've asked a lot of questions and stuff. But on my YouTube channel, also you saw I made those arboreal setups with the pull out trays. So it's kind of keep easier to keep arboreals more user friendly
Yeah, I
with the
did see
pull out
that.
trays. Just change the water, boom. Change the newspaper. Uh, just trying
Yeah,
to innovate, make this more fun, bro. It doesn't have to be. You don't have to be scared of your chondros every time especially if you have a male import emerald tree boa. Now I could feed him fresh water and give him a change whenever I want. I don't
yeah,
have to worry about sticking my hand. I don't have to throw a towel on the animal and stress him out. I think it's better all the way around with those little setups that I'm kind of showing, and I'm
yeah,
showing that to people. I'm being like just like you. I'm being completely transparent. I'm showing people how to make it themselves for $40 or whatever it takes. I'm not gatekeeping shit. I'm here to make it easier for everyone, bro. I'm a thinker. You're a thinker, Alex, bro. You're real transparent about your approach, and you have some high level stuff over there.
yeah. Well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I mean, I know before you said you don't really like, it's kind of hard to see animals, but I can pull like an animal out if you want, before we dip out of here.
Yeah, man. Well, yeah, for sure, man, for sure. I'm
All right.
gonna hit the head real quick and pull out an animal. We'll come
Sure.
right
Yeah.
back. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for tapping in, bro. I wish I had a commercial to play.
All right. So this one was produced by, of course, Bill Stiegel, and it is a freight train outbreak baby. And it is coming up on, let's see, it was born in May. So it's coming up on a year old now. It's about 10 months old. And it is just looking like a phenomenal animal. Outbreak and freight train are both melanistic animals. And this one's kind of showing it. Can you see it? And it's definitely showing some melanism, although at a year old it is starting to go away. So I am wondering like what the final phenotype for this animal is going to look like. But either way, it's still got some powerhouse genetics.
There we go. I figured it out. I'm sorry. Can you show that again one more time?
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's
look at the mask on that guy.
Yeah, it's definitely, even if this was a solid green snake, the genetics in this animal is just wild. Maybe you could breed this to a Biak and it's going to produce some crazy shit.
Yeah.
So
that's that stuff you guys got over there in Texas is just. And I see you got the gloves on when you practice your biosecurity when you're dealing with your animals.
Yeah, I've cleaned adults today, so okay. So I always work from the youngest up, and if I go backwards, I have to wear gloves.
Okay, that's great information, man.
Yeah,
I like those gloves, man. Send me the link for those.
I got them from Harbor. Do you have Harbor Freight?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I got them from Harbor Freight.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know the sex of this animal yet. It actually can be sex right now. I just haven't done it yet. And either way, it doesn't matter. It's not going anywhere.
It's just thrown inconclusive sheds so far.
I mean, it's only 10 months old. Generally, they don't really shed plugs or butterflies for, I'd say, around 18 months or so.
All right.
So yeah, it's still pretty young, but it doesn't matter either way. If it's a male or female, it's not going anywhere. So I'm kind of hoping female.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But yeah, just a sweet little snake right there.
Thanks for showing that animal, Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome. And these designers they have in Texas are just different, man. And Bill Stiegel's lines of animals. Wow, like a kid in a candy store, man. And also that Insularis that you have, I really like that Insularis. I'm a big diversity guy, as maybe you guys can tell, man. I really like having a diverse collection. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Although it's important to stick to a species and focus on it, but yeah, those Insularis are awesome, man. So what is like a common name for the Insularis?
That would be white-lipped viper is the common name.
White-lipped viper?
Yeah, I think.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, but blue Insularis was the first thing that I ever produced, believe it or not.
Wow, yeah. So those are live bearers?
They are.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah.
And they were hard to establish. They were harder than a green tree to establish.
I'm sure you have to feed them like a mouse leg or something small, like a very small prey item.
Yeah, basically like a mouse head. And because none of them wanted to take a full pink right away. So they all strike, luckily. And so you basically have to get a mouse head like stuck in their mouth, and then they'll learn to swallow that. And then once they kind of learn that that's food, then you can feed them a whole pink. And it was a pain in the ass, honestly. There's the reason I only did it once.
One of my buddies bred eyelash viper. I don't know if you bred him, but he raised eyelash vipers, and he was saying how small of a prey item that you need they're so small.
Yeah,
it was quite interesting.
They could basically like coiled up. They could fit like on a silver dollar or maybe a $50. Like they're so small.
That's insane.
They're kind of comparable to chondros, like in how small they are.
Even a Neo, like I've seen a really small Neo at some of these shows, and man, it is tiny, bro.
Oh, dude. If it's at a show, you should see a fresh unicorn, bro. Like that
Yeah.
that could literally perch on a quarter. Like those things are so freaking
Yeah.
small. I always forget how small they are until I see them. Yeah, unfortunately, the Insularis clutch was before the gizzard method, so I didn't know that.
I know, man, that new gizzard trend. Shit, I
Yeah,
want to eat some gizzards
working.
now.
It's definitely been working. I've definitely been using that for sure.
So the animals, they'll just like strike and wrap a gizzard. They'll just like,
You can,
or
but I use
you
it for different.
assist feed. They're more assist feed.
Yeah, they're more of an assist feed meal, but I do feed them gizzards. Like I'll cut like the same size of a pinky in out of a gizzard and just feed them that, and they'll eat it. I mean, you know, they're once they're established, they're pretty much down to eat whatever.
Yeah. If you were to get into another species, man, what would you get into?
Oh man, probably emeralds.
All right, good answer. Good answer, bro.
Yeah, but I don't, dude. I can't focus on anything else right now.
Yeah.
I gotta do the chondros. You know.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man. You're doing it, bro. You're doing it. Yeah, I love the emeralds. I need more emeralds for sure, man. I need more emeralds, bro. And yeah, I feel like I'm pretty good with the chondros at my 2.6 for now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good ratio.
Yeah. Yeah, I still have a lot of ball pythons and whatnot.
Yeah. Are you trying to like get out of that or?
Not necessarily. No, I have some pairings I'm looking forward to. I still really like the ball pythons. I still have some pairings I'm looking forward to. I might have a gravid female this season finally. It's like, man, I just got started, bro. Now I'm gonna get out of it, you know? I'm gonna give up. I just like, I bought all hatchlings, now they're ready to go. Now I'm gonna give up.
Oh, so
So
you did buy hatchlings then?
well, I bought a few hatchlings, like here and there, yeah.
Yeah.
I bought I mean, yeah, most of them were hatchlings. Like I bought a few I got a few like that were adult females you win in an auction here or there to support the homie or something like that.
Right.
But most of them were smaller raise ups. Yeah, they were raise ups, and that's what I'm saying. It's so painstaking to raise them up. I also have a pair of 1.1 Dumerals boas. I really like the Dumerals, so we'll see. Just kind of have a few of a different species. I got the Dumerals boas, I got the Solomon Island tree boas, I got the Emerald tree boas, I got the chondros, I got a few leopard geckos, I got the red Aki monitors. I was more of a lizard frog guy. I was like into lizards and frogs, and finally fell into the ball python world. You go to the shows and you see a lot of ball pythons, and
Right.
I realized what amazing animals the snakes were. The snake, community, what a good community there is, and then was introduced through Trap Talk to the arboreal species because I kept chameleons too. I had chameleons. Chameleons. I bred panther chameleons.
Mm-hmm.
I successfully just as like a trial, like, oh, let's see if I could do it, and I did. I bred, and I got a clutch of eggs, and I hatched the eggs, and I had the hatchling chameleons, and long
Yeah.
story short, they something happened to the clutch of chameleons. I was establishing them, and they just something happened, un out of my control, that it was unfortunate. But I did it, bro. I incubated the eggs for a whole year. Chameleon
That,
eggs, panther
that's
chameleons.
how long it takes is a
Yeah,
year.
it takes a whole year. Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my god.
maybe if you put them in an incubator, they might hatch faster. Yeah, I mean that's why people say like, oh, 50 days. I waited 365, like a monitor or something.
Wow.
And a
That's
chameleon, that's like an
crazy.
everyday animal. I'm feeding the chameleon crickets every day, like misting it every day. It doesn't drink sitting water. You have to mist it every day, feed it crickets every day. A snake, you feed it once a week, once every 2 weeks. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, this is so I'm an everyday animal kind of guy. So I know the appreciation for these animals that we keep now, like these chondros and these emeralds and whatnot.
For
But
sure.
that you can have that arboreal look in a snake. That's where I fell in love with All in the Tree Tuesdays. MJ introduced me to these green tree pythons, emerald tree boas. I didn't even know what they were at the time. I thought they were some venomous type of snake that no one could ever keep. I'm like, man, you could actually keep these things. I'm like, what am I doing, man? So that's immediately, bro. Fell in.
Yeah, for
Like I
sure.
said, I
So
had
so
a
so you didn't keep chondros before All in the Trees Tuesday?
no, no.
So
Yeah.
you've literally kept these for like a year now or
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I've only been in the chondro game for about a year or so.
Wow.
Since October, actually, I got my first chondro in October of last year. So not even like what 6 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've,
Wow.
but I've kept chameleons. I've kept arboreal species of animals. So
Yeah.
it's like I've been a reptile keeper my whole life. You saw me at the reptile shows. It's not like I'm a COVID breeder per se. Like I
No,
just
no,
got into
no.
reptiles because I'm bored at home. I've been into, since I was 8 years old. I've been keeping reptiles, bro. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well,
mm,
welcome to the club, bro.
yep,
It's
yes, sir, man. And
it's a, like you said, it's a great community. We're all here to help out and stuff like that. And
yeah,
there's a lot of great people in it.
yeah,
When I was first coming into this, I never thought that I would, make as close of friends as I have in it. And
yeah,
it's the people that you can call on the phone and not talk about snakes with are the closest people that you're with. And it's that kind of relationships that I go for sure. Shout out to Chuck and Mike and all them that I talk to consistently all the time. Sal, everybody's like so great in this community. And I never thought that I would get into snakes and develop the kind of relationships that I have. So
I mean, yeah,
kudos to
man.
them.
We're on like a first name basis with all these guys, man. And
Yeah.
I'm out here in Los Angeles, California, bro. And I could be anywhere right now, but I'm here on a podcast with you, bro. Like the homie, and that's where these animals have taken it. And that's another thing I want to touch on. Like I'm here for the animals, bro. I'm not here to make money. I don't give a fuck about money, bro. I'm not here to make money. I don't give a fuck about money, dude. It's I'm here for these animals, bro. Like first and foremost, if you do what's right by the animals, then I fuck with you. If you're
Right.
just here for the money, then I don't know, man. But and that's why I love MJ and Trap Talk because you could see MJ's passion, bro. He loves these animals, bro. He does what's right for these animals, and
Yeah. MJ's a
I'm
solid dude. You could
that
tell he's going to be here for
that's
a long time.
yeah. That's where some other species kind of lose me is like it's just it's just an asset, bro. It's like a live animal, you know. These are live animals we're dealing with, man. Like stuff happens.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
yeah, man. I mean, I'm here for the animals, bro. That's why we're here. And
Yeah,
salute
for
to that,
sure.
bro. Salute to the animals, man.
Definitely. Definitely. So I kind of hate to cut this a little short, but I think I'm on like
Yeah,
2% right now.
yeah, for sure. Let's wrap it up, Alex. Hey, thank you for joining, man. I love your shirt, dude. Can you show off your shirt before you head out?
Absolutely. The Texas Carpet Fest. It was 2024. It was
All
at a
right, Alex.
Reptilandia. It was a good time, and I think they're having it again this year. So should
Oh,
definitely
okay,
come
yeah,
on
yeah.
out.
That's that zoo. That's that. I'm sorry, Quetzal.
Yeah,
Quetzal Dwyer. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, man. Love it, man.
Ari Flagel runs it, and I think Quetzal owns it. And it's crazy, dude. I
For
mean,
sure.
a crocodile monitor enclosure that's like I don't even know, like 100 foot long and 2 stories high, and it's wild, bro. If you've never been there, you should
Yeah,
definitely be there.
yeah. I need to go for sure, man. And
It's way out in the middle of nowhere of Texas, but it is worth the drive. Trust me. It's great. And they're gonna do Carpet Fest again this year, I think in October. So should definitely come out.
okay, okay, man.
All right, bud. Well, thank you for
Well,
having me on.
Alex, thank you for coming on West Coast Wednesday, bro. Everyone that watching, I appreciate you. Comment, rate, subscribe, bro. Send a like. out there, and follow the homie Alex Warren if you're not, bro. Amazing Arboreals on Instagram. And thank you all for coming out here. We're gonna go ahead and end this stream right now, and see you next other Wednesday. All right, goodbye, everyone.